And it's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services. We're up at the Independent Bankers Association of New York State Conference in Verona, New York, and I have a chance to talk with an officer of the Federal Home Loan Bank of New York, and that is Adam Goldstein, who's the Chief Business Officer, and gave a nice presentation this morning. Adam, what's it like for you to be at the conference? You had a lot of messages for the bankers today.
Thank you very much, Ken. It's great to be here. Great to be part of your podcast. Going through that presentation was rapid fire. It was kind of drinking out of a fire hose. There's so much to cover. Tons and tons of slides, chock full of information. It's great to be back together with everybody. It's great to be with IBANES and John and his team for putting together a great show, and just thrilled to be part of it all.
Very good. And for those who may not be familiar exactly, the role of your bank, the Federal Home Loan Bank, which is celebrating its 90th anniversary, an organization born of the Depression era, and to help homeowners. Tell us a little bit about the role of the Federal Home Loan Bank.
Sure. It's an organization with a rich history. Actually, tomorrow will be the 90th anniversary of when the bill was signed for the Federal Home Loan Bank Act, and Herbert Hoover in July 22nd of 32 actually put his final signature on it and approved it, and we were born. And we were born during the Great Depression to be a provider of liquidity to thrift institutions, and then over the last 90 years, the institutions that we service continues to grow. The commercial banks, credit unions, insurance companies, housing associates, and community development financial institutions. Generally speaking, we provide liquidity on and off balance sheet to support housing and community economic development. And that comes generally in the form of loans that we make to our members, or grants, or supporting whatever they're doing in their communities for the betterment of what their missions are.
Very good. And you talked about working with bankers during the pandemic with the Paycheck Protection Program loan and just helping with administration. Now this year, the Ukraine crisis you mentioned, and also now the change in gas prices and inflation. What are some of the things that you're working with banks with now on these different issues?
Sure, Ken. That's a loaded question. There's a lot to unpack. Let me start with where you started, which is what did we do to help supplement where PPP was being put out into the communities during the COVID crisis era. So at that time, obviously, as the name implies, that was more for payroll. And our member institutions came to us and said, there's a lot of support for payroll, but we really need some working capital to help small businesses, farming, nonprofit, tribal communities. Can you come up with a program like that? And we responded in kind and came up with what we call the Small Business Recovery Grant Program, where we provided outright grants for our members to support their areas for their businesses that were reeling from the crisis. As we look forward and the unfortunate crisis that's playing out in the Ukraine, we're trying to see what our members' needs are there. Obviously, right now they're concerned about cybersecurity, any OFAC risks that come with the war that's going on there. But quite frankly, wherever we can help our veteran communities, our local farming communities, helping in ESG efforts as that becomes much more prevalent in terms of the conversation and narratives that are taking place to support social issues, environmental issues, and how institutions are telling their stories on the governance side. And we think that is critically important, because if you're not out there telling your story, someone else is going to tell it for you. So we're trying to help with our members and partner with them to tell the right stories on all these different aspects of what we're dealing with as society.
And Adam Goldstein, the Federal Home Loan Bank. Final thought for us today?
Final thought is that it's really wonderful to be back together with everybody, to see all of our member institutions. Proud to be part of this organization with a rich 90-year history, and look forward to the next 90 years with all of our members, serving them in their communities, although I will be retired at that point. Thank you, Ken. Really appreciate the opportunity.
That's great. Appreciate it. Adam Goldstein is the Chief Business Officer of the Federal Home Loan Bank of New York, based in New York City. Great to visit with you today. This is Ken Kraetzer at the Independent Bankers Association of New York State Conference.